Um, Once again, it's a pleasure to be speaking to everybody. Um, and yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Maxwell and Gideon and everyone else. So before we get started today, I'm just gonna let me just share my screen and tell me if you can see my screen, by the way. So I'm just gonna share my screen now. But let me just share the slides and
Yes.
can you see? Okay. So I'm just gonna run through, just very quickly cover what we're going to be delivering today. So I'm going to do the slideshow, and just tell me if you can see the slide without the notes. You can probably see the slide with the notes. Can you see the slides without the notes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. So last week we discussed, or we covered V2MOM, metrics for success, and today we're going to be covering your value proposition, research and insights, and buyer's behavior. That's the goal for today. It's going to be quite tight because the all three of them are usually takes half a day to cover these, but we have to do this in 2 hours. So depends on the pace, but I'll work on the pace which everybody works for everyone. Because the goal of the sessions is to make sure that you understand the methodology and the process and you're able to apply it. But without further ado, can I ask? I think there were three questions that we finished off last week with, and we agreed that we're going to run through the answers before we start today's session. But before we go through those questions, does anybody have any questions from the last session we had? So the last session we covered V2MOM and metrics for success. Any questions from that? And whilst you're doing that, I'm going to quickly move on to the questions which we agreed to provide answers to. So these were the three questions. Go back. Yeah. So any questions from last week's session? Please feel free to either raise your hand or unmute and speak, or speak live. Yeah. Okay, so I take it there's no questions from the last session. That's fine. Can we run through these answers before we start, please? So who would like to attempt the first question? So I'll read out the question, the question number one. You have 30 opportunities in your pipeline with an opportunity close ratio, which I remember we can use the word conversion ratio, as per, I believe, Ike, with a conversion ratio of 10%. You're able to close one opportunity, i.e. sign one contract. How many from the 30 do you have remaining in your pipeline? Does anybody want to attempt that? It's a bit of a tricky question. The first time I came across it, I got it wrong. But of course, when it got explained to me, I understood it. So please feel free to attempt it, or anybody feel free to attempt. Or put the answers in the chat. We just want to spend 5 minutes on this before we get cracking. So someone says two. There's two left. Okay. I think that's I believe that's Ike. Anyone else? Be good to get three answers, and then if not, I can run through the explanation for that one. Anybody from the live room? Anyone? You're on mute. That room it says mute from what I can see. So if anyone wants to speak, I think Maxwell, you may have to unmute the room, but at the minute, I can't see any hands being raised. Yeah, okay, you unmuted it. Thank you. Someone says 20. Okay. Okay. Someone says 20 with a winky winky. Don't know why they wink, but okay, fine. Good. I'll take one more answer, whether it's chat or whether it's yes. Yes, I can hear you.
There's one hand here, so he wants to talk.
I can hear you. Yes.
So I think we have medicine that's
What's your answer?
medicine.
30.
Medicine.
19.
That's one hand.
19, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So far we've got someone from Thrive. Sorry, someone says 2. Someone, I think Ike. So Thelma says 20, and then we've got 19. The answer is actually 20. So I think Thelma, Keith Organics, well done to you. Everybody else that gave it a try, well done. Let me explain how you got to 20. Or does Thelma want to explain it if you're in the room? If not, I'll explain very quickly. And I think you'd all get it. So you got 30 opportunities in your pipeline. Okay. You have an opportunity conversion ratio of 10%. So let's break that down first and foremost. The first line. When someone says you have an opportunity close ratio of 10%, it means that out of 10, right? Let's use simple percentages. Out of the 100%, it means if you close 10%, it means you're closing 1 out of every 10. Would you agree with that? 10% close rate means out of every 10, you close 1. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. 10% means out of every 10, you close 1, because that's the conversion ratio. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna need some engagement. I just want to make sure you guys are getting this part, because otherwise it gets a bit tricky. So that's great. So you've got 30, okay. You have a closed ratio of 10%. So what that means is you close one opportunity, right? So if you close one opportunity, it means you've wasted 9. Does that make sense? So the first 10 opportunities, you closed 1, which meant that you wasted 9. Would you agree? So if you close 1 and you waste 9, how many have you got remaining? 20. I'll go through that again. You had 30 opportunities. Out of that 30 opportunity, you close 1 opportunity. But when you close 1 opportunity, you waste 9, because out of every 10, you can only close 1. So when you close 1, you lose. 9 of them become a waste, or I don't want to say waste, but you don't close the 9, so they come out of your pipeline. So if you close 1 and 9 came out, you've got 20 left. That's the easiest way I can explain it. And that all goes back to the metrics. If you remember, I shared Maxwell would have shared an Excel with yourselves, and you can just punch in the numbers and it does everything for you. I just wanted you to understand the back end of how things work. Okay, so let's go on to question number 2. Question number 2 says, you have a revenue target of $1 million. If you remember the last time we did the revenue target, and then we did some maths behind it. In fact, if you've got the Excel sheet, this will answer the question for you, to be fair. Anyone that has the Excel can actually answer this question. You have a revenue target of $1 million. How many deals? When I say how many, I need a number. How many deals? A deal also means an opportunity that's been closed, 1. You've signed the contract. How many deals do you need if your ACV, if you remember ACV, the average contract value. So how many deals do you need to win if your ACV is 50,000? I've got someone says two. I'll pause on that, and I'll get two more answers. So remember, you have a yearly revenue target of $1 million. That's what you set your target as. By the end of this year or this time period, I want to make sure that my revenue to my business is $1 million. On an average, the deals that you close coming in and around $50,000 on an average. So what we're saying is, how many of those $50,000 do you need to close to get to $1 million? So how many of those? How many multiples of the 50,000? So someone says two, someone says 20. Um, Thank you for the effort, but the answer is 20, right? So if you've got the Excel, punch in the numbers, you can change the target to one million. I think the Excel is in pounds, but I mean it's just a currency. You can put one million in the target, and then you can put your average contract value as 50,000 or spit out 20. So thank you, Thelma. 20 is correct. Thank you, Defcon Talk, for the effort. And so what that means is you need 20 or $50,000 deals to hit your target of 1 million. So when you set yourself and your team to say, go and find deals that come in and around 50,000, and we need to find 20 of those that will sign in the year, and we're at our $1 million target. Okay, and then the final one. So again, we're doing ratios. Your call to opportunity conversion is 5%, right? Or your call to opportunity ratio is 5%. What that means is when you do 100 calls, five of them will convert to an opportunity, right? So that's just simple percentages. Okay. How many calls do you need to do in order to fill your pipeline with 20 opportunities? Okay. Defcon Talk says 400. Absolutely spot on, 400. I hope you in the room, I'm not sure if Defcon Talk's in the room or the guys in the room, I hope you're getting it. Because today we're not doing the metrics. Today we're doing value propositions. We're getting into the meat and bones of the actual selling process and the buying process. But thank you for everyone that attempted these questions. If you're unsure about anything, give me a shout privately. Hit me up on WhatsApp, and I can try and find maybe 5-10 minutes to run you through. But it's important that you understand this. Moving on from now, you've got the Excel, so you can use the Excel to do all the calculations for you. But at least you know what the science is behind the calculation. Okay, fantastic. So now let's move on to today's lessons. So today we're going to talk about your value proposition. And after this lesson, you will be armed with tips and processes to position a clear, concise, and compelling value proposition that links from the business issue to engage different stakeholders. And this is very important because when we're talking to our stakeholders or our buyers, everyone has their own agenda, and everyone wants you to be able to explain to them what your product or service is going to do to them and to their business. So the value proposition is very important. It's also very important because the barriers of entry has been lowered by technology, by COVID, by so many things that buyers are struggling to explain things to themselves. So let me give you an example. There are businesses in the room right now and on the call right now that are doing almost the same thing, but everybody has a unique differentiator. We call it USP, a unique selling point. Now, as founders, as executives, whether you're the company owner, whether you're the CEO, whether you're the VP, or whether you're a member of staff, it took you some time to either build your value proposition to be different, or it took you some time to actually understand the value proposition that you bring to your customers. Now, imagine a customer that is looking at 3 or 4 different vendors, right? If you leave the work to the customer to actually differentiate your services or your products to your competitors' products, they might not do a good job on it. Why? Because they will struggle. Every vendor says, "Oh yes, I can do that for you, Mr. Customer. Yeah. All that you're asking for, we can do it." Because most of them lie because they just want to welcome a customer without really understanding what the customer needs. Our job as founders, as executives, as salespeople, is to make sure that we're differentiating our solutions, our value propositions to our competitors, just so that it makes it easy for our customers to make a decision. That is the net of what we're doing today. Again, I need to say, stop me if you have any questions. Put it in the chat, put it in the group, because I may not see if you were to raise your hands or something. So please do that. Okay. As you can see, these are some extracts, right, from some reputable industry leaders, as you can see. All right, Google, Dell, HubSpot, Salesforce. They talk about value in such a unique way, right? And I'm not going to read every single one of them, but let me pick out just a couple of them. Dell, right? This is an executive from Dell. Value-based selling makes the buying process educational and less adversarial. Google, somebody from Google. The more you focus on the value of your product, the less important the price becomes. I can underline that multiple times. Salesforce, longer sales engagement and better customer relationship. That's where the value becomes more important. If you're able to build value, it moves things from just price to now let's talk about the value that's going to bring me as a customer. But I'm going to end it there in terms of some of the quotes. Why is this important? It's important because every dollar, every pound, every city, every currency that every business is going to spend in your product, in your service, they scrutinize it. And I'm sure you do the same thing as executives. When you're buying anything, you scrutinize it. You say to yourself, why do I need to buy that? What is it going to bring to me? What value is it going to bring to my business? Because money is hard to come by. And given the economy, if you can't deliver an ROI, a return on investment, then I'm sorry. Why would somebody buy your product? You need to demonstrate to them that when you buy something from me, Mr. Customer, I'm going to triple your investment in 6 months, in 9 months, in 12 months. And you have to convince them that this is how you're going to do it. Okay, so it's very important that we look at value as something that we have to do in every sales engagement. Don't just give them price. Move away from price and move on to value. And I'll come on to how you do that in a second. You may be asking yourself, so, okay, what is value and why do we need it, right? And it's a legitimate question. As you can see, there are a lot of businesses, there are a lot of salespeople, a lot of executives that are very good at selling, whether they knowingly or unknowingly. But they fall between these two buckets. They're either selling on price or products, or they're selling on value. Let's look at some of the product-based selling approach. They emphasize on features or functions. Hey, I've got depends on what you're selling, right? This feature, would allow you to do A, B, C, D. Okay, that's great. So what? If that feature can allow me to do things quickly, what does it mean to me as a business, right? They're very good at selling on features and functions. Okay, they sell on price, right? The minute they do the features, it's like, okay, it's going to cost you 200,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, and then you wonder why the customer or the potential customer doesn't talk to you again, because the minute you give them price, they're in control. Okay, I've got the price. Thank you. I'll come to you when I'm ready. I have so many. I've had so many of these experiences in my early sales years. It still happens now. It happens now because I'm still selling, right? It happens now. I coach a lot of businesses, and one of the overarching challenges I find is businesses saying to me, "My deal is stuck. It's stuck. It's not moving. They got the price, and now I don't know where to take. What else to do now? They're not talking to me. They're not taking my phone calls. Why? Yeah, they've got what they needed from you. They've got the price. They don't need anything else from you. Now they're going away to make a decision, but you don't even know how the decision process is going to be made, and it's very frustrating to be in that in that space where you're not in control, because you need to be in control, not in a bad way, as in aggressive being in control, but being in control that you can help them make a decision. Very, very important. Okay, so what else on product based? You know, it's usually a single engagement, i.e., you've got one person that you're talking to, right? Which is dangerous. If you're only speaking to one person in a business that you're trying to sell to, it's very dangerous. When that person is not available, what do? You're stuck. You just don't know where to go. Okay, so that are some of the telltale signs when somebody is selling based on product or price. What we want to be able to shift from that mindset of product selling, feature selling, price selling to value-based selling approach, right? So what does that mean? You're selling on value. You're always quantifying. If it's time, if it's risk, if it's cost, you're quantifying what that means. We'll come on to what that quantification looks like in a second. But value-based selling approach focuses on things like business outcomes for your customer, right? Move away from discussing price. You always talk things like value, the benefit to you, Mr. Customer. You are always thinking about long-term, value to the customer, not just today and tomorrow. You're thinking, I want to be able to work with you in partnership for the next 5 years. So it's always a journey. You're on a journey with this customer. Why is it important? It's important because the minute you're able to sell them value, you make their job very easy. They're able to then have a business case. They're able to then go to their executives who are going to be signing the contract and say, I'm confident that the deal that we're going to be doing with Vida, with Gabriel, or with Thelma, this is what they're going to bring to us. In 6 months' time, our investment that we're going to put into this deal would be realized already. In 12 months' time, the ROI is going to be double or 3 times. It's a different conversation, as you can see, right? And another thing you need to be mindful of is you always get delegated to the person that you sound like. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're selling a technology product. And remember, in every sale, the reason why people buy is they buy because there's a technical pain or there's a business pain. And I think I explained this quite briefly to, I believe it was Ike. Ike asked a question in the last session. So the people in the tech team are saying, our technology isn't working. For example, let's say you want to buy a CRM, customer relationship management. The people in tech are saying the systems are not talking to each other. We're spending too much time at the moment with updates and with feature function. They're feeling pain. The tech people are saying, reliability is a problem. Remember, that's a tech language, right? Tech people are sounding like tech. The business people are saying, that time that we're spending could be spent elsewhere. We're spending too much time updating our CRM records. We feel there's a better way we can do this, right? The business people are not talking tech, they're talking business. Now, you, the salesperson, you come on and you start having conversations, okay? And you're talking to a business person and you start talking features and functions. Hey, Mr. Business Person, the reliability, the function of this CRM, the feature of this CRM, they don't really care about the feature. What they care about is, if we buy this, what is the value that's going to bring to us in terms of time saving, in terms of cost saving, in terms of reducing risk to the business? Because if you then start talking tech to a business person, guess what they're going to do? They will delegate you to go and speak to somebody in the IT team. Now, there's nothing wrong with speaking to somebody in the IT team, because the more and more you're speaking to people in the business, the better. But guess what that does? It downgrades your conversation, because the IT team aren't the people that are going to sign the checks. As much as we need the IT team are the influencers. They're the ones that would validate our solution and say, yes, we're happy with this vendor, tick. Now, the business, you go and make a decision on the budget, and you go and make a decision on how we sign the contract. Now, flip it, the salesperson comes on board, and the salesperson realizes that, oh, the people I'm talking to, they are business stakeholders. So let me change my language. Let me not talk features and functions, but let me talk value. So now your discovery, if you remember discovery, we're going to be talking about discovery at some point today. Your discovery, discovery basically means you're asking questions to understand where they're at now, and where they've come from, where they're at, and where they want to get to. So your discovery is more of a business discovery conversation. So, Mr. Prospect, tell me about the challenges that you're facing right now. Okay, great. It sounds like it's quite a huge challenge for the business. What is the impact to you? How much time are you spending on that? Oh, wow, that's, you're spending about, what, 60 hours a year because of this challenge, right? So already, remember what I'm doing here. You're quantifying it, right? So 60 hours is how much they're spending as a business a year on this challenge. Oh, wow, 60 hours, that's quite significant. And how much, is it costing per hour? Let's say they tell you it's $200. Okay, so this business problem, 60 hours, $200 per hour, is costing you $12,000. Is that correct? Yes. What have you done there? You are quantifying, maybe they've not done the exercise, but what you're doing there is you're helping them quantify the problem in monetary terms. So straight away you said 12,000 is what it's costing them. They said yes, they've agreed. Okay, great. So that's on the time. Tell me about the risk. If you don't get this thing done because of regulatory purposes or whatever reason it may be, what's the fine? Because it sounds like there's implications. Oh yeah, if we don't get this done by end of the year or by this date, or we don't do it correctly and we don't comply, we're gonna potentially be liable for a fine of $50,000. Oh wow. So what you're saying to me, Mr. Customer or Mr. Potential Customer, is the cost of not doing it, right, is $62,000. $50,000 potentially for a fine, and $12,000 for the time that you're currently spending. Is that correct? Yes, it is correct. Okay, great. What you've just done there is magical, because you're working with that business stakeholder, you're talking their language, you've quantified their pain point, and it's $62,000 if they don't do anything about that problem. Now, your solution, for example, let's say it costs $20,000 to them. What have you done there? What you've done there is you've said you can help them solve this problem and they're going to save $40,000, right? It's value selling. Whereas the other salesperson is saying feature function, this feature, that business person doesn't care. Okay, I think you get it, right? What I'm saying here is we need to start speaking value, irrespective of what you sell, service, products, it doesn't matter what industry you sell to, retail, public sector, telecommunications, always speak value. And I know what some of you execs are thinking, where do we start? We don't have the value pyramid, or that's all some of the things which I would encourage you to have in place. And we're going to be talking about some of them very shortly. Okay. So remember, a lot of the buyers that you're going to be speaking to, they are work rich and time poor. And I'm sure some of you execs are the same. You don't have time, right? So the time that you're giving to a salesperson is quite pinching. And you expect that salesperson to come on board and know their stuff. You expect them to come in and speak your language and really understand what is it that you need from them and how they can help you. Okay. And therefore, if you get a salesperson that comes to you and are not speaking value, you just want them to just leave. So why am I showing this? I'm showing this because as a salesperson, whether you're a founder and you're selling, whether you're a VP and you're selling, whether you're a CEO and you're selling, remember, when you get given time by your potential buyer, you need to maximize the perception of the benefit. You can see from the pulley on the left-hand side that if you focus on costs, price, and FOMO, which is FOMO basically means fear of messing up. Not, there's FOMO, fear of missing out. This is fear of messing up, right? You also have to make sure that you balance the scale that they act. Because remember, if they can stay in, there could be that desire to do nothing because they're thinking, I'm scared to actually do something if I mess up, or I don't really see the true value of me doing this thing. So you always have to make sure that you tilt the scale. How do you do that? You have to talk benefits all the time. Don't talk features, talk benefits, right? So and we'll come on to that shortly. How do you talk benefits? As whatever you're selling, whatever you've developed as a founder, you need to make sure that you understand what are my unique selling points from a benefits perspective, not from a feature perspective. You need to talk about risk. You need to talk about business, and you need to make it personal. What do I mean by that? So let me go back to my earlier scenario. Anyone that buys, they buy because there's a risk element to it, there's a cost element to it, and there's a personal element to it in most cases. What do I mean by personal? Well, maybe I've just started in a new organization and I want to elevate my brand. I want to elevate my status. I want to show them that I don't put my stamp on this business. And therefore, I've noticed that there are some challenges in the business that a solution can solve. And therefore, I've invited Thelma or I've invited, Vida to come and talk to us and see whether we can use their services. It's my reputation on the line. If Vida or Thelma or Gabriel come in and they don't do a great job, guess who's going to be reflected on? Me. So it's my reputation on the line. So it's very important that when we're talking to our potential buyers, we ask the question, so why are you even doing this? Now, it could be quite daunting asking that question. It depends on how confident you are. But we need to be able to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And what I mean by that is we need to ask the tough questions as salespeople. Because if we don't ask the tough questions, it comes to a point where we're living in assumption because we're scared to ask the question to get a no. But guess what? No's are good. Yeses are good. Maybes may kill you. If you're talking to somebody and they're giving you a maybe answer, an unsure answer, start having doubts in your mind. I'd rather a buyer says to me, Mike, we can't do this month, or we're not going to do it at all. Thank you. Let me not invest time, my energy, and my emotion. Let me move on to the next one that I can help. Because guess what? When someone says to you NO, no, is good. Because no means next opportunity. The acronym no means next opportunity. It's how you perceive and you interpret these things in your mind. It's a mindset thing at the same time. So when you get a no, that's fantastic. When you get a yes, even better. When you get maybe, be worried about it. So back to my point, be comfortable with asking the tough questions to your prospects. Because when it comes to sales, some people may say it's a numbers game, some people may say it's a volume game. It, irrespective of how you look at it, you want to be able to pick your battles, right? Looking at your 10 opportunities, which one of those do you think I should spend my time on? Because not all of them are going to close. Remember the exercise we did the last session. There's no way that you'd be working on 10 opportunities and all 10 of them are going to close. No one has a 100% conversion ratio. Some of them are going to close and some of them are going to be lost. Your job as a salesperson is to be able to pick and choose where you want to spend your time. Yes, so I can see someone's Defcons, I think so. Can you explain the statement? Talk about benefits and not features. Absolutely. I've got a slide on that, so I'll cover that when I get there. Give me maybe 5 minutes and I'll get there. So I hope you get the value of this slide. Always talk benefits, risk, business, personal. Make it personal to them. So what happens if you're able to bring in a solution and it ticks all the boxes for you, Mr. Customer? You personally, what does it mean to you? Oh, it just means that I'm going to get a promotion. Oh, so that's why you're doing this. Okay, I think there's something here. I'm going to work with Gabriel because Gabriel has a personal reason for talking to me. I hope you get where I'm going with that. A lot of sales is psychological. It's emotional. It's the buyers make decisions emotionally and then they rationalize it later on. Okay, people buy from people. It's so true. Anyway, we'll come on to that at a later stage. How many times have you heard this, or have you even heard this at all? Hands up if you're on the chat or if you're in the room. Have you been working on an opportunity or on a deal where the prospect or the potential buyer has said to you, "You all look the same. Why don't you give me your best price?" Or even, "No, I don't want to talk to you. I haven't got the time. Just give me your best price." How many of you have heard this? You must have heard this before. Okay, fantastic. I can see a hand up. And if you haven't heard this, you're going to be hearing this. Why? Because there's so many vendors that are entering the market. The barriers of entry has been lowered. Why? Because of technology, because of the market, because everybody wants to become a CEO, rightly so. So there's going to be a lot of vendors out there. COVID-19, information. There's just so many reasons why the barriers of entry has now been lowered. And for that reason, if I'm a buyer, I'm just going to say out there, hey, who's got the best price? Because maybe I'm buying because of price. What you don't want to do let me recap. The last time we spoke, we're enabling you to become elite, top 5% in what you do, not average. The average salesperson will just crumble and say, "Oh yeah, no problem. What's your email address? And I'll send you a list of all our services and price." Do you think the minute they get your price, they're going to come back to you? Most likely not. Now, if you're not average and you are elite, which is what we're enabling you to become, the minute you hear this or you see this, what are you going to do? Do not feel pressurized. You can simply say to the buyer or the potential buyer, Hey, thank you for your interest. Our solutions are custom designed, they're custom made, and therefore no two solutions are the same. I'd like to spend 20 minutes with you to understand a bit more about what you're trying to achieve and some of your requirements. After which, I'll be more than happy to share pricing with you. Very simply, very confidently delivered. Now, guess what? What you've done there is you've distinguished yourself from the other average many salespeople that are going to just crumble and say, "Oh, my price is this." Now the buyer's thinking, "Oh, wow, this person knows this stuff, right?" They're going to design something that's tailored for me. And guess what? Everybody likes things personalized. Who doesn't like something that's got their name on it or got their badge on it? We all like things that are personalized. So when you position it well, if the potential buyer is really serious about using you or they're really serious about solving that business problem, they'll give you time. If they don't give you time at the early stages of the engagement, why will they give you time at the latter stage? I think somebody wants to come in. Yeah, I think I heard someone. Okay. If they're not giving you time now, why would they give you time later when you're trying to get a contract signed? They're not going to. Okay. So just some food for thought, right? Buyers, if you've heard this before, buyers are liars. So our job is to make sure that we sift out the ones that are lying to us to the ones that are really truthful, just so we don't waste our time. And this is a regular occurrence that a lot of buyers. I'll give you an example. Um, I'm a CRO for a company called X Africa. We are the regional partner, reseller partner, and referral partner for a few vendors across the globe, like CRM vendors especially. We received a request about 2 months ago from one of the decision makers, in fact, based in Ghana, who basically wanted price, right? And I've seen this many times, and I've been around, many buyers, and I sniffed there was going to be time wasting here. Now, a few of my executives who were part of the X Africa team were like, "Oh, Mike, wow, there's an opportunity. Let's jump on it." I'm like, "Guys, calm down. Let's not rush, right? Why are you rushing? Right? If you rush and give them price, and we were getting this pressure of we need the price by Friday, and I think it was a Wednesday. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, so if you knew you needed the price by Friday, and you're only calling us on Wednesday or emailing us on Wednesday, what's the driver? What's causing you to need the price by Friday? There must be something. So let's jump on a phone call. I need to understand why, because my time is valuable. Before you contacted me, I had other projects I'm working on. So for me to put a pause on those and prioritize yours, I need to understand that. And I can't just give you price because our pricing is tailor made. Did we get a call? No, we didn't get a call. They pushed back. No, no, give us price, give us price. And my execs were like, Mike, just give them price. I said, no, we're not going to give them price because the minute you give them the price, you lose control. We persisted and we had a phone call. I think a 30 minutes phone call. And I found out so much from that phone call that inwardly I knew it was going to be a waste of time, right? Because they would have been talking to somebody or another vendor who would have probably given them the price, and now they probably want to compare pricing. That's the feeling that I got instantly, because there's no buyer that would wait till 2 days before a decision is made to contact a vendor and say, give me price. No, that vendor would want to understand, how you're going to help me, which part of your solution is going to help me achieve the objectives. It takes a few days to do a proposal and pricing. So all of that was going through my head. So we had the call, and I pushed back on a number of things, and the net was they wanted our price to beat down the competition. It wasn't explicit, it was implicit, but that was exactly what they needed. We did not give them a price. And it turned out through research and through some digging that they were talking to a competition, right? And they basically wanted to use us to beat down the competition. Exactly what I initially felt, that my instinct told me. And I said to the execs, this is a regular occurrence in sales. If you've not been doing sales for a long time, you would never be able to pick this one out. And thankfully, I was able to pick it out. We didn't spend too much time on it. It wasn't our deal to win. We weren't going to win it regardless. Okay, so just be mindful of always pushing back on clients. Okay, so back to, I think it was Ike's question. Talk about benefits and not features. What you're seeing here is what we call the FAB, right? FAB, FAB. So if there's an easy way for you to remember, I'd encourage you to write this down if you're not already. But FAB means features, advantages, and benefits. Everyone that's developed a product or selling a product or is an evangelist of a product or a service, okay, you'll have a FAB. What is a feature? A feature is something that's very specific or it's an element in your offering. As an example, and I use a CRM example because I think CRM is easy to explain, right? CRM is like a database, right, of your customers. And if you've not used a CRM before, or if you have HubSpot, Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, they are all CRM solutions. Salesforce and the likes, right? So if I use a CRM example, I think a feature within a CRM is a dashboard or a report functionality. It's a feature, right? Now, when I talked about average salespeople selling on features, they will be spending the whole conversation talking about our dashboard is so nice, it's so flashy. Look, our dashboard's got colors. Our dashboard, okay, so what, right? And guys, I mean this in the most humblest way. When I say the so what, it's a way where you have to tell yourself or pinch yourself when you find yourself talking about features. Always say to yourself, so this feature that I'm telling them, so what to them? And then quickly move away from feature to benefits. But let me explain to you what an advantage is. The advantage is usually a generic value, right? So when you're saying, when I'm using the CRM example, so you may say, yeah, our dashboard lights up blue. It's got different colors depending on how we program it, and that allows you to be able to figure out which dashboard to run at what particular point in time. What you've done there is you've given them a generic advantage of what that dashboard does, right? So look at advantage as it's not tailored. It's quite high level for everyone that's going to use that feature or that function. The benefit, however, which is where you want to be, what you want to be talking in, the benefit is the specific value that addresses your customers or your prospects need, right? So what you're doing is you're tailoring it. So let me kind of run through that example again. So Mr. Customer, you see the colors on the dashboard, it was intentionally designed. You talked about sometimes struggling to be able to figure out which part of the dashboard to look at, and you spend an hour a day on that alone. This color coordination will be designed with your input. You tell us what colors you want to put, and therefore, when you need dashboard relative to what you need it for, you're able to know that blue is for my team and red is for my staff, and that will save you X amount of time, right? So what you've done there is, given the discovery call, you found out that they spend a lot of time because the report is not easy to read. But you have a feature in your solution or your service. And what you've done is you've picked out that feature and said, this particular feature, is going to resolve your problem. And this is how it's going to do it. And this is the benefit to you, Mr. Customer. You're going to save time, or it's going to remove the risk of da da da. but you did not keep it generic. You didn't say everyone's going to benefit from it this way, because no two customers will use that feature the same way. Another customer will use that feature in a totally different way, and they'll benefit from it in a totally different way. Does that help? Features, advantages, benefits. I think Dev can talk. Give me a thumbs up if you feel that that was helpful in terms of the explanation. But it's called Fab. So there's going to be a task on this, by the way, please. So I'm going to be asking everybody to, based on what you sell and what you've developed, to draw out a Fab for your solution. Was that helpful? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a wave if you're in the room, just to make sure that what I've just explained, there's clarity there. Okay. Okay, I heard we understand. So, okay, good. I think it's Ike. If it's not Ike, somebody from Deaf can talk. Can you give me a thumbs up if that's answered your question? Okay, is that a raise hand meaning yes, or do you want to say something? I'm making an assumption that it's answered your question. If not, please put something in the chat. Okay, so I encourage everybody to do a Fab, right, for your goods, your products and your services. Okay, so you're probably looking at this thinking, oh, what is this about? Let me spend a bit of a few minutes to explain. In addition to the Fab, and going back to my earlier scenario, when you're selling, there's always different stakeholders. Everyone has their own agenda. Everyone wants for you to explain to them how you're going to be able to benefit them, whether it's business or technology. When you're sharing your proposal, right, whether it's in your executive summary or whether it's in an email, always remember that you're linking the required capabilities to positive business outcomes. I already touched on it in the Fab, but this is an example. So imagine you were speaking to a potential buyer. They gave you time to do all your discovery and everything else. They've invited you to come in now to present to the CEO and the CTO, right? Chief Executive Officer and the Chief Technology Officer, and a few other stakeholders. But the people that sign the checks are the CEO. Well, it's the CEO, but with a green light from the CTO. And with CEOs, and I know there's many CEOs in the room today, you don't have time. Cut to the chase, cut through the weeds. Tell me what your solution is going to do to me and how it's going to improve my business outcome. From your discovery, right, you uncovered that the two business drivers where they want to be able to reduce churn. You're losing too many customers, or the company that you're selling to is losing too many customers, and you want to be able to improve their churn. You also uncovered that they want to grow revenue by 3%. Now, remember, if you didn't uncover any of these, or if you didn't have any discovery call and you just gave price, when you get to that point where CEO's like, okay, John, come and pitch to me, come and present your solution to me. How are you even going to present? What are you going to present to them? You've got nothing. But because you did such a wonderful job of discovery, you've got the value drivers. So now what you're doing now is the CEO wants to understand how. I don't want to know your technology and all your tech blurb and all of that, but tell me how your technology or your service or your product is going to help me grow my revenue by 3%. And tell me how it's going to help me predictably reduce churn. And I underline the word predictably for a reason. They want to know the how you're going to help them do that. So you've come very prepared with your team, and you've got this slide, and the CEO's looking at it, and the CEO's thinking, "Oh wow, I get it now," right? Without even explaining, or you may have to explain. So let's take the first one on the left. Predictably reduce churn. Hello, does somebody want to come in? I'll pause there. I think I heard someone speak. I can hear you, but it's cracking up a bit. Yes.
Hello, Michael.
Hi.
Is it?
Hi there.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So I think they said some of the letters are gone to the edges, right? Which side? On the left with it predictable or predictable?
Oh, sorry. It's predictably reduce churn.
It's predictable. Thank you.
Is it distorted at your end? Is it not?
It's from our screen, not really. So, but thank you for telling us the thing.
Okay. So it's predictably reduce churn, and then the other one is grow revenue by 3%. So back to my scenario. You're pitching to the CEO and the CTO and other people in the room. This is like the final proposal presentation before they make a decision. You've showed the slide. The CEO is saying, "Oh, I get it. So the way you're going to help my business reduce churn is that your solution that you're going to bring to us has these three functionalities or features. Dare I use that word? Okay. And those three features are your real-time alerting and case management, your revenue at risk reporting functionality, and your mobile reporting functionality. So what that means is when I'm on the go, I can actually have access via my mobile and see which accounts are at risk, and I can get my team to jump on it to make sure that they don't churn. What you're saying to me, Mr. Salesperson, is, oh, you've got a report that says revenue at risk. So I can get my team to look at it, and they can always action the ones that are at risk. You've got something called alerting and case management. So we can look at the ones that are, the cases that are perhaps red and address those. And if we can do those three things, we can improve our churn. Oh, that's very clear. Do you get what you've done there? What you've done there is you've quite simply and predictably explained to them how your product or your service or your solution will help them meet their business requirement. Fantastic. It's very simple. CEO's like, okay, cool, I get it. The CTO is like, oh, okay, yeah, you've got these systems already built. We don't have to build it ourselves. Makes sense. We'll save time. We'll save R&D money. We'll outsource everything to you guys. Fantastic. I'm happy with that. Okay, let's look at the second point. CEO says, I want to grow my revenue by 3%. How are you going to help me grow revenue by 3%? Okay, you have a report called cross-sell report. You have a report called upsell report. And I'm looking at the ones in purple team, by the way. And you have a report called 360 degrees account reporting. Oh, that's fantastic. So what you're saying to me, Progal, is if I access this cross-sell report, it'll give me an indication of customers that I can cross-sell to. Because currently they're buying one thing from us, but potentially, based on their usage report, we feel that they may be able to, or they'll buy other things because it'll give them benefit, it'll give them value. Oh, that's great. So if we can sell one more thing to 200 of our customers, that's going to bring us X amount of revenue. Oh, that's great. That's okay, cool. I like that report. So what you're also saying is you've got a 360 degrees account reporting that will give me a bird's eye view of everything that's happening, and therefore I know maybe this customer's red. It's not the right time to go to them and upsell. Let me wait because I don't want to upset the apple cart. Oh, okay, that's great. We didn't have this report before, but now you're giving me visibility. What you're also saying is you've got an upsell report. Upsell means cross-sell means you're selling something else. So if they're buying product A and you've got product A, B, C, D, cross-sell means you're going to be able to sell them product B, C, and D. So eventually you're going to be expanding and making it more sticky because they're using multiple things. Upsell means they're using product A, but they're only using 10% of product A. You can actually expand that to 40%, either selling to more of their team or getting them to use more of what you're selling. That's upsell. So what you're saying to me, Mr. Salesman, this is me, CEO, talking, is you have an upsell report that would allow me to potentially sell, rather than them spending 20,000 with me, they may end up spending 100,000 with me. That's wonderful. What have you done there? Again, you've quite simply explained to that CEO, Mr. or Miss or Mrs. CEO, that I can help you grow revenue by 3% using these functions or features within our product set. Very simple, but it's not easy to build. Once you build it, you can use it many times. Again, it comes back to the blueprint that I talked about the last time, the playbook. Salespeople need templates. If you've got a template like this, the salesperson can work around it and they can fine tune it. Does that make sense at all? I've got 2 more slides before we do the task, but give me a thumbs up. You know, let me know if this makes sense. If not, I'll go over it again.
Please go on. We have cross-sell reports, degrees, and they are sell.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Please, would you go over the cross-sell reports, degrees, account cost?
Yes. Yes. So I'm going to go over the cross-sell reports, 360 degrees account reporting, and the upsell report. Absolutely. So imagine you've got a product or you've got a service. But you've got different products and you've got different services, right? It depends on what you're selling as an organization or as a company. But let's take products as this scenario. You've got product A, product B, product C, product D. You've got 4 products that you sell, right? But when your customers come in, they usually start with product A, and then eventually over time, when they like what you're delivering and the value that you're delivering, and when you start building relationships within the account, they end up saying, oh, actually, you've got this product B. Oh, we may need that for this department. Okay. Cross-sell is you saying, Mr. Customer, you're currently using product A for your operations team. And so far, I think you like what you've invested into. But we also noticed that your sales team or your marketing team can benefit from our product B, right? And is there a way you can refer us to somebody in your marketing team to discuss our product B? Usually that's how the conversation goes. But what we're saying here is, because of their usage patterns, right? You can see that operations are always interacting with sales. Operations are interacting with marketing in the CRM. You've noticed that, oh wow, there's a report, and your solution, right, has a report that would, if you click on that report, right, that customer that you're selling to would get to see that, oh, right, okay, this report means we can sell more of our products to our customers. It's a report that gives them visibility. Look at it as, without your reports, they just didn't have clarity on how their customers are spending with them. But with your report, they can see that, oh, our customers are usually buying product A from us. But if they buy product B, they can get even more value from what they're buying from us. But this report here is giving me 20 customers that we can go and talk to that can buy more things from us. So cross-sell basically means they're buying multiple products from you. So you're cross-selling to other things in your service or your products. So that's cross-sell, trying to sell multiple things, different things to your customers. That's cross-selling. Upsell means you're not selling different things. It's one thing, but that one thing, they're spending more revenue with you. How do they do that? Well, maybe they've come to you and they're saying, we need 20 more users on your service or on your solution, and each user would cost a dollar or whatever it is that it costs. But you're expanding the one line item that they're buying from you. Okay, so look at it as cross-sell is single threaded, but you're expanding the usage of that single threaded. Sorry, upsell is single threaded, right? Upsell, but you're expanding the usage in terms of revenue of that single threaded. And cross-sell is multi-threaded. So it could be minor revenue, but if you put it all together, it's big revenue because you're selling multiple things to them. Hopefully that helps. This slide, let me go back so you're not confused. This slide, there's a scenario. Everyone in the room today, everyone on Zoom today, right, is selling something. And that's why you're talking to us today, because you want to find a better way to sell more, a better way to get more revenue for your business. Okay. When you're delivering proposals, what we're saying is move away from feature, function, price talk to value discussion. What we're also saying to you is in your presentations, in your proposals, have a slide like this. Because when you're presenting to an executive, executives are time poor. They don't have time. They want you to get to the bottom of how are you going to help me solve my business challenge? If you do not know the business challenge, do not give price. You need to always understand why are they talking to you? What is the business challenge and why they're talking to you? And for this scenario, we said that their business challenge were two things. They want to reduce churn because the customers are sifting through the net. They don't know how. And they want to grow revenue by 3%. What you've done is you've made it very simple for the CEO and the CTO with this slide to say, this is how our features and our functions are going to help you meet your business outcomes of these two challenges. That is the net of the slide. Keep it simple, make sure there's clarity there, and be very concise. Therefore, the CEO would know that, okay, the time I've given you has been maximized, and I understand how your solution is going to help me meet my business objectives. Okay, we're going to do the task now. I'm going to skip a few slides. This talks about what I just mentioned. Make it very clear. The slide you've just seen is very clear. I don't have to be in the room and the CEO can understand how we're going to help them. Make it compelling, right? Quantify it. We talked about quantification, right? And then make it very concise, tailor it. Remember the FAB, features, advantage, benefits. Always make the benefit relative to them, that individual, that company. Okay, so I'm going to skip these two slides and we're going to go straight on to the task. So if you can please spend the next 5 minutes, because it's 1:10, the next 5 minutes and draft your FAB statement. So everyone in the room or on Zoom, whether you're a service provider or whether you're a product provider, can you just pick out one feature of what you deliver or what you sell or your value proposition, write it down. Can you write down the advantage? If you remember, the advantage is very generic, and I'll go back onto the fab again. This is what we're doing. We're doing fab. Advantage is generic value, and then write down a benefit. And pick a persona, pick somebody who you normally sell to. Okay. The goal is at the end of this session, you have to do this for every single feature of your product or your service. But right now, up until 17 past 1, write your fab, and then we're going to use the last 3 minutes for 1 or 2 people to run us through their fab. Okay, so you've got 4 minutes to do this fab statement. Thank you. Hi, I can hear you.
Can you please go over the task?
Sure. The task is for you to create your fab statements. So what you're seeing on the screen now. Fab stands for F is feature, A is advantage, B is the benefit. Now, a feature, as explained earlier, is a specific element in your offering. So if you're delivering a service or a product, there's something in there that your customers will come and buy from you, right? So whether you're an agri-tech or whether you're whatever you're selling, there's something that you built that does something for your customer, right? The advantage is that thing that you built. What is the generic value? What does it do for all your customers? If you were to talk generic terms, what does it do? The benefit is, let's now be very specific. What will it do for a customer that you're talking to? So I gave an example. I'm not sure what example I used, but let's use a CRM, right? Can someone give me a business that you're in, and then maybe I can use an example there? Does somebody want to give me a business that someone's in now? Hello, guys. Can someone give me a business that they're in, and I can explain? Okay, so Keith Organics for organic foods. Okay, so I don't know exactly your value proposition, but I'm assuming you deal in organic foods, right? There's a reason why customers will come to you and buy organic foods. So maybe you've got different packages. Package 1 would ensure that you're healthy or whatever it may be, right? So let's say package 1 is the healthy option or the non-vegan or whatever it is, right? And I'm sure you've got different. So what you're saying is one of your packages, that's the feature. That is what it brings, okay, for that organic food. The benefit to everyone is that it will keep everybody healthy because it's organic, right? It's a generic benefit. But the specific benefit to a particular customer that you're selling to is that it would help them recover in the next year. Remember, the benefit is different for everyone you speak to. So what you're saying is, what I'm asking you to do right now is, as a fab statement, if you're Keith Organics, write down my feature is I've got this organic package 1 is my feature. My advantage is organic package 1 would allow everyone that uses it to benefit from da 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 da. I don't know the benefit, but you know the benefit. That's the advantage, right? It's generic. But the benefit to this customer that I'm talking to, and I'm sure you're speaking to customers, is that it would help them specifically do this. I hope that helps. Keith Organics, is that helpful? Okay, so time-wise, let's spend the next 3 minutes to do it. Sorry, can you repeat that, please? Can I get a thumbs up for the execs in the room if the task is clear, please? Just give me a thumbs up or a wave to say, yes, I understand it. If not, I'll have to go over it again.
Those in the room, can we hear from you? From Maxwell, is everybody okay?
Yes, they are doing it.
But Micheal asked whether everybody is okay. There wasn't any feedback.
Next way.
Okay, thanks, Gideon. Thanks, guys. I know it's difficult. I normally deliver these in person, but because I'm not in Ghana, hence why I'm doing this remotely. But I'm sure, you know, when in my next trip, should time permit, if we need to go over some of these again, I can be there in person. But it is challenging delivering online because I always like engagement. I want to make sure that what I'm running through is clear and it's been utilized, because you know, as per the slide I showed the last time, if you learn something today and you don't apply it instantly or the next kind of 24 hours, within 4 days, 90% of what you've learned will dissipate. It's gone. And it's kind of like you spend 2 hours of your time and you've not gained anything from it. So these tasks are important just to make sure that, one, you get it, and two, you're practicing it. And we know that you're going to practice it later on. And then it just sticks in your memory. I don't expect you to get everything done correctly now, but it's just the act of doing it makes you want to, you know, obviously make it more concrete, and then at the right time, when you've got time, actually build your model. But as long as you get the concept, right? The concept here is, do not speak features, speak benefits, make it tailored to your customers. It doesn't matter what you're selling. You could be selling trainers, you could be selling cars, you could be selling, and I know the needs of these in the room. But irrespective of what you're selling, always make sure that the person you're speaking to that want to buy from you, you're tailoring what you're selling to what they need, because that will distinguish your solution or your product or your service to your competitors. Otherwise, your buyer is struggling to say, but I'm talking to 4 people, 4 vendors. You're one of those vendors. I can't seem to differentiate between you and the other 3 vendors. Everyone, on paper, you all look the same. How are you different? Why are you charging me double what the other one is charging me? And guess what they're going to end up doing? They end up buying on price. They're going to go with the one that's cheaper. But we don't want that. If you do this task, you distinguish yourself from them. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, I think I can see Gideon hand up. Yes, please, Gideon.
Yeah, I just want to do something just to ensure that everybody online is actually online listening. So hello everyone, those online. can I just see a raise of hand by everyone if you are by your device? Okay, Deaf can tell's hand is up. You see, Progal, Wisdom First Line, Thelma. The rest, where are you? Gabriel, Vida.
Please, I'm here. I can't raise my hand.
Okay, buy some more. You're also here. Okay. Thank you for raising your voice. Vida. Now I know those who have just joined and placed their devices somewhere. Hayford. Okay, Kama's hand is up. Okay. All right. So Michael, we can go on. Now we know that at least there are some online who are listening.
Yeah, thank you, Gideon. And by the way, all the execs on online and also in live in the office, at the end of the 4th session, I'll be sharing a sales playbook. It's basically a summary of the lessons that we would have covered, sessions 1 to 4, with some blurb on it, right? Which Gideon and team will share with you. So if there's anything that's unclear, it'll be on there. It'll be an explanation. So for example, what's fab? Fab will be on that report, and you get to see examples, on that report as well. And that playbook would help you. It's a guide to build the things that we want you to build. Just as a heads up. Okay.
Right.
In the interest of time, I'm not going to ask. In fact, let me get one person to kind of run through. I think it's always good to get one person to do it. Can someone kindly, either come off mute, or if you're in the room, please run through their fab. Just want to make sure that at least we're on track here. So let's spend a minute.
Kuku's hand is up.
Okay, please, Kuku. I'll have you.
So, hello, we have one here at the name who wants to talk.
Great. Okay. Thank you.
These are my players. I need it.
Afternoon, sir.
So as constant insurance, we generate skincare solutions, with skin and hair care solutions, which are natural. So over again, we provide natural and organic skin and hair care solutions that provide beauty without regrets. So if our feature is the natural and organic, and then an advantage that is skin and hair care solutions with the natural products. And then the beauty without regrets will be the benefits, because you get to use our products not to experience any side effects due to the natural and organic feature.
Don't know if you heard me clapping, but yeah, thank you so much, whoever spoke there. That's exactly the task, right? So that's one of the features. You may have other features, I don't know, but you may have multiple. You got to do it for every single one. And then the goal here is, when you're speaking to your buyers, you got to pick and choose. Not every buyer is going to be able to use all three, but you pick the one that's relevant and then just really maximize that. But thank you so much. I think, yes, that's great. Yeah, if there's no one else that wants to share, I will move on, because I'm just conscious of time. But that's good. That's telling me that you understand. You've just understood what we just run through. I think it's Ike, but if Def can talk, yeah, please take it away.
All right. Thank you very much. Please, can you hear me?
Very loud and clear.
All right. So for us, we also have a number of features. We have about 5 features on ours is a tech based as a service. So we have 5 features, but based on the discussion, for the feature I'll talk about is an AI feature. And then the advantage is that it allows a deaf person to communicate with a hearing person. And then the benefits here, over at this time, I think the target is a doctor or the pharmacist. And so it allows the pharmacist or doctor to overcome communication barrier, to properly diagnose and provide the right service to a deaf patient.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. That's very poignant. That's exactly, and I think the general consensus I'm feeling is you guys are getting it, right? There's two different business models, from a technology one to more of a kind of a beauty kind of product, and you both managed to leverage the fab template. We call it the fab template. So what you're probably asking, so what does it mean? Well, let's say you meet somebody in the elevator, or you meet somebody at an event, or you got talking to somebody somewhere, right? What the fab allowed you, and they ask you, so what do you guys do? Because you know you're having a discussion, and they've told you a bit about what they do, and you're thinking, oh, maybe we can help them. No. You can use a fab to just quickly be very specific. Yeah, well, just like you've just said, Ike, just now. You can rattle off those FAB statements, and instantly they're like, oh, I get it. I know somebody who can benefit from what you've just said. They're also a doctor. And already you've got a lead or an opportunity. So that's the importance of fab statement. It's very succinct, and it allows you to just differentiate yourself from the competition. So thank you both for kind of sharing your examples. Okay. I'm now going to move on to the second part, and I'm going to be very quick on this one. So now we're getting into research and sales insights. The importance of finding the right opportunity is relative to your revenue goals. And this lesson would help you with uncovering the right opportunity. You remember we talked about picking your battles. It starts with now. So now we're getting into, researching, sales insights, understanding intelligence, because you don't just get up and say, I'm just going to sell to anybody. No, if you're selling, I don't know, a particular product, you can't go and sell to a football player, or somebody who is not within your catchment area, or somebody who's not a persona of somebody that can potentially buy what you're selling. You need to understand there is a niche for your products, and if you can focus on that niche, then you're going to be successful and generate revenue, and you're not going to waste time. So that's what we're going to cover here. Very quickly, with some research information, Miller Hyman group shared this several years ago, but it's still very relevant. As you can see, at the bottom it says what buyers are asking for, right? Buyers are asking that the sellers understand them and know them. They expect the sellers to come to them to speak well and to give them insights. So I'm looking at the one at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a research that was conducted by CSO Insights, by the way. And I know it's a few years ago, but it's still very relevant in today's world. At the top right, you can see 29% of the buyers are saying that they want their needs clarified and identified at the start, right? And I don't know, I don't want to interpret this, but I think you get the point of, you as a salesperson, it doesn't matter what continent you sell on, right? You need to sound credible, because if I'm talking to somebody who wants to sell to me and they don't know me, my industry, they don't know what my pain points are, generic pain points, right? Generally, and they're not able to speak my language, I'm just going to say, I don't have time right now. I'm busy with other things. But if somebody came to me and they've come to me with credible intelligence, hey, Gabriel, or hey, Ike, or whoever it is, right? Wisdom. I've done some research. I'm working with other customers in your field, similar roles, and I've just seen that there's a big challenge with whatever the challenge may be. You can see in your industry. We're seeing more and more of that. We're helping a lot of these buyers with this challenge. How are you finding it in your space? Tell me more about how you're overcoming that challenge. Fear of missing out, FOMO. Instantly, that exec is thinking, oh, wow, they're talking my language. That terminology is something I use all the time. It's a challenge for me. Let me tell them more about that challenge, because guess what? He or she has just said to me that they're helping other people in my role as a VP. I want to know what those VPs are doing to overcome that challenge. Tell me more about what you're doing. That's it. You bought your ticket. You start discovery. But if you're not going to them with credible insights and you're not prepared, you're going to fail. That's the point of these two slides that you're seeing here. Can you see this? This says the one that says 90%. It says 90% of potential buyers are willing to engage sellers earlier. They want to talk to us. They want to speak to us. They want us to come to them confidently, whether it's a cold call, a warm call, but we need to engage with them at the start, not when they're halfway through their cycle. Because when they're halfway through, they're already talking to other vendors. So they don't want to go back and start telling you about their problem. No, they're past that. What does that mean to us as salespeople? Let's pick up the phone. Let's go to those networking events. Let's send those emails out. Yes, a lot of it is timing. I understand that. A lot of it is luck. I understand that. But a lot of it is action, doing what we need to be doing, which is engaging with buyers. Because if you're sending them out, one or two of them will say, yep, timing is correct. It's the right time. I want to have a conversation with you because you've shared some relevant insights with me. You look credible, sound credible in your email or in your phone call. Let's speak next week, 20 minutes in your calendar. Let's do it. Okay. Look at the one on the right. It's quite telling. 10.4% of the buyer says all vendors are equal. 57.7% of the buyer says typically one vendor is better than a little bit better than the others. What this is saying to me is sometimes we don't do a good job of differentiation. And by the way, this study, it was global. It wasn't just Europe or America or Asia. It was global. And it was buyers, everyone that buys stuff. So we need to take it seriously because this is buyers saying to us that sometimes they struggle to differentiate. Our job is to make sure that we differentiate. We do that through the FAB statement. Okay. So let me talk you through the journey so far. Session 1 last week, what did we do? We looked at metrics, right? How do you set off from the start? How do you set targets in place? How do you find a science behind those targets? And then today so far, we've looked at the journey so far in terms of building your value proposition, right? Because before you go and talk to anybody, you need to make sure that you have a message. And usually, I know marketing people will get involved, but you need to make sure that your message is compelling. So imagine we've done those two excellently well. We've got to the point where we now need to start reaching out to our potential buyers. There's a few words that I'm going to be using here. Persona. A persona is somebody who you've identified as your niche. So for example, let's say with Def Can Talk, perhaps maybe you sell to doctors or institute or hospitals, right? Those are your personas or your potential buyers, whatever you want to call them. Okay. What you're seeing here is on the left, the lady stern looking at you. What's going through their mind? She's thinking, can I trust you? Right? Do you know my challenges? Do you even know my competition? What are you going to bring to me? You've asked me for 20 minutes next week, but what are you going to bring to me? She's also thinking, how much is your solution if I decide to go with you? How soon would I get a return on investment? You remember the ROI, we talked about return on investment. And how sure? You're telling me that you'll be able to solve my challenges, but can I trust you? Do you even have any reference case studies or reference customers that I can talk to. Now, I'm showing you this because these are some of the things which our buyers are always thinking. And if they're not telling you, that's exactly what they're thinking. You can put yourself in their shoes. The last time you purchased something, right? The last time somebody tried to sell you something. Some of these things must have just crossed your mind. Can I trust you? You probably went on LinkedIn and tried to check them out. I do the same. When anybody tries to sell me something, I want to make sure they're credible, right? We're currently building our learning management system. I think I mentioned it on my last session. We're about 80% of our way into building the e-learning platform, which I'm hoping everybody here would have access to when it's live. The first thing one of the things I did was I needed to make sure that our payment vendor, we're using a vendor in Africa, the salesperson that's speaking to me is credible and I can trust them. I went on LinkedIn to check them out. Thankfully, they had a profile. So for me, some concerns were eased off then. But I'm also thinking, this salesperson, do they even know my challenge? Do they even care about what I'm building? Who are do they know my industry, the e-learning industry? What do they know about e-learning? And what special value are they going to bring to me? These were some of the things that I was thinking about. And if I'm thinking about these things, most buyers are thinking about that too. So what you're seeing on the right-hand side, maybe it's left to you, is a template that we've developed that if I haven't shared with Maxwell already, I will do that. But if I have shared with Maxwell, then maybe he's going to share with you as a team. But it's something that would help you when you're doing your research. So every one of you would have a target of who you sell to. And I encourage you that before you go and sell to them, draw out their profile, right? It's very simple. It'll take you 20 minutes or half an hour to do it. A bit of research. The job description, the LinkedIn picture or URL, their personal profile, and you can normally find out from the news or maybe some webinars that they've been on or wherever, their objectives. Or someone saying you can't hear. Can everyone else hear?
Yeah.
You can hear. Okay. I'm not sure. Okay, I'll try and speak out close to the camera. So utilize the template that is on the right-hand side, because that it buys you credibility, and it makes your job easier later on when you have to present to the execs, because you know their pain points. Disc profiling, right? Sometimes we overlook these things, but it's important. If you're working on a deal or an opportunity that you feel, I want to spend my time here because I know that I can win this deal, why would you not spend half an hour to figure this out? Are they, and we're not going to touch on the disc profiling, but you can Google disc profiling, right? And you can learn more about it. But you want to know things like, yeah, I can see someone say, is it heat? Yeah, exactly that, right? Are they dominant? The person I'm going to go and speak to, this lady that I've got a meeting with, what personality are they? Are they dominant? Are they an influencer? Are they a steady type? Are they conscientious? Right? Quite a difficult way to pronounce that one, right? And find out, because you have to build trust. And if you can connect with them emotionally, the minute you connect with them emotionally, at that stage, they're thinking, can I work with you? It's all emotional stuff. And then later on, they're going to rationalize it. This will help you do that. Okay. So I think you get the concept, right? Put in some work before you engage. The second one, there's another one that I shared. It's for the company. So you've got one for the individual and you've got one for the company. And again, I'm sure Maxwell will share the template with you. This is just a waterfall of why sales intelligence is important. What I've just showed you is sales intelligence. Before you go and talk to your potential buyer, you want to make sure that you are leveraging any intelligence that you can find about that person, about that company. Because when you get in front of them, You may have one opportunity. If you don't take that opportunity, they're going to go and talk to your competitor. But if you show them that you came prepared, if you show them that I know your industry, I've done my research, I know the pain points that typically your colleagues in the same role face. I know the trends that's going on in your industry. You build credibility instantly, and they're going to want to work with you. And you've set yourself apart from the 95%, and you're in that 5%. Okay, so you can see why is it important? It's important because it helps you develop awareness. It shows that you're prepared. It helps you become more you come across as professional. It helps you spend time on the right opportunities, because guess what? You're not going to do this for every single opportunity. No, the ones where your gut tells you there's something here, they're the ones that you do this for. You don't go rogue, right? It helps you. It keeps you in check, right? And finally, on this one, it helps you identify the ICP. The ICP, we talked about it in the last session, is the customer persona, the identified customer persona. So they're the ones where it's like, if I'm using, for example, Ike's Deaf Can Talk, maybe Ike pitches to doctors. So that's your persona. Let's go after doctors. Let's go and research LinkedIn. Let's go and Google. Let's speak to hospitals. How many doctors are there? You can just start doing your science from there. So all we're talking about is the pre-task to actually jumping on the sale. The next session, we're going to focus more on when you start the meeting or the cold call, how do you start it? How do you build your pitch? 30 seconds pitch, right? How do you simplify? We're now going to go into the meat and bone, the nitty gritty of the doing. But these are all the prep before that. Because if you've heard the saying before, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. So come prepared. Even if you over prepare. Because I'd rather be over prepared than under prepared. Okay. So what you're trying to do here is you're moving from research to intelligence, right? That's what this slide is basically saying. What are some of the research sources? Well, there are quite a few. I talked about Google. You can take, I mean, I'll share these slides later, but you can take an image if you need to. Google Trends, Google Images, LinkedIn, news articles, Google Alerts. Set alerts for the companies that you're targeting. Obviously, not every company is going to be in the alerts. Not every company is public or that big, but it's just another source. Your CRM. You talked about CRM earlier. If you have a CRM, sometimes you have a lot of information in your CRM, or even it could be in your book. If you're quite old school and you've got a book, you might have some intelligence in there from meetings that you've been to, and then what you're seeing, Pinterest, right? I mean, there is some Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Maybe not so much Facebook because it's quite personal. You can be quite intrusive, but I like to want to see the face of who I'm going to be meeting or pitching to. If I can't find it anywhere, I'll go on Facebook, right? I'm not intruding. I'm not kind of doing anything wrong because it's a public platform. And then at the bottom, you can see PESTLE, right? Some people call it PEST analysis or PESTLE. If you want to go the extra length, imagine you're going to go and pitch to a government, a public sector institution, or a private sector, or any company for that matter. You want to be able to understand how does your solution, what are the social factors that your solution would bring to them? What are the technological? It's a bit pedantic, the PESTLE analysis. You may not find it useful, but it's worth knowing about it. I'm not going to spend too much on this one. You can in fact Google PEST or PESTLE analysis on Google, and you can do your own research. But I would encourage you to research, find intelligence before you start speaking to your potential buyers. And then I've got a task, but I don't think we've got time for that. So I'd like us to move on, if that's okay. the task really was, I mean, you can do this for the next session. This is the task. It was every single exec in the room today or on Zoom, I'm sure is working on an opportunity, right? You're something you're working on, I'm sure. Using the templates that I shared with Maxwell from a company and a personal profile, I would like you to pick one person that you're talking to and build that profile, right? Build this on the right? Build that for that person. Basically fill this out, complete this profile. There's another one that's a company one that it's not here, but again, I'd like you to complete that. So if you can have that and share that with Maxwell, that would be fantastic. Now, look, the reason why I'm asking you to do is because you know what I talked about. If you don't implement it, you're going to forget it. If you do it, you may find, you know what, I'm not seeing any good use from it. Okay, fine, at least you did it, and you're saying it's not useful. But if you don't do it at all, you can't make that judgment. So my recommendation is for you to do it, and for everyone to do it for one person and one company. So that's the task for next week. Before next week, share it with Maxwell. So the final lesson before the session ends, I may not finish this one, and I'm going to pause here probably for questions, is we're going to talk about buyer behavior, right? How do buyers think? How do they behave? How do they make decisions? Because if you don't know how buyers make decisions, then how do you know how to appease to them, right? It's, again, buying is emotionally related, and we rationalize it later on. Okay, so, but before I do that, let me pause there, and let me see if there's any questions before I move on. And I'm conscious we've only got 11 minutes. So any questions, any thoughts, any observations? Okay. All right. I guess they say silence means compliance. So is it making sense so far? At least somebody can give me a thumbs up, or someone can say yes in the room. But is it making sense so far? So far, what we've covered, is it making sense? Okay, thank you, Progal Agro Processing. Thank you for that. Yeah, I've got a few thumbs up. There's a hand up that's raised. Please feel free to speak if your hand was raised.
It's been highly implemented, definitely appreciate this, especially with the father. It's been quite an eye-opening for me. It makes me look at the future for growing or even our products in a whole different size, such that you don't just go into it and then just start talking to them about just anything. You need to know exactly what you offer and what you offer us for them specifically. You can consider the fact that the solutions can be tailored, or preferably should be tailored, because all customers enjoy the same benefits. It's highly informative. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, I appreciate it. Thelma says, yeah, it's very clear to me. Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So conscious of time, I'm going to spend 5 minutes, and then we'll do Q&A, and then we'll wrap up. But I want to leave you with this thoughts, because we're going to kick off this piece on the next session. People buy from people they trust. It's such an incredible statement, but yet it's the truth, right? And you can put yourself in. The last time you bought something, when was the last time you bought something? And if you had a couple of options to choose from, what made you choose the one that you picked? Or what made you buy from the person that you bought from? And I can tell you that I bought stuff where there were two competitors, but I bought from the person that I built that connection with because I trusted that person and I felt we had a good relationship. And I rationalized it later on, right? I made it made sense to me to say the reason I bought from this person is because of da da da. But that wasn't really the real reason. The real reason was because I trusted that person. What am I saying here? What I'm saying here is at the early stages of us engaging with our buyers, generally what's going through their mind is usually the things I said earlier. Can I trust you? Do you know my pain points? Well, have you done this with anybody before? They're all emotional questions. There's nothing rational there. It's all emotional, right? As the time goes on and things progresses, then the buyers start thinking, oh, wow, okay, let me now start rationalizing. They start becoming more pedantic at things like, so give me this information. Give me your reliability, your security documentation. Tell me how. They start to rationalize it. But that's because you've passed the first stage of trust element. And trust is key. There's always emotions at stake when there's a buying atmosphere, right? So I just wanted to leave you with that to say, knowing that and having that in mind, we always need to make sure that everything we're doing has an emotional aspect to it, right? Let's not just spit out, the functions and the features. We can't be doing that. We need to now start talking value, benefits, because the minute you start talking value and the benefits, it's personal, right? And if something is personal, it's emotional. They'll feel it. They'll feel that you care. It's empathy. We need to start applying empathy in our engagement. So I want to leave everybody today with the power of empathy, right? If anything has taught us, if COVID has taught us anything, is that we need people, right? And empathy is absolutely important in all our engagements. Because if I can't connect with you, how do I expect to work with you and buy like in the next 3 years? If I buy something from you, we're invested for the next 3 years or 5 years. If I don't like you, that I can't be with you for 3 to 5 years. So I need to make sure that whoever I'm buying from, I like them from the start. And that starts with things like coming prepared, knowing that you know the industry, showing professionalism, like just the little things which we don't really value or we can't quantify. We need to go over and beyond better than what our competition is going to be doing. Okay, so remember, buyers buy from people they trust. If anybody told you otherwise, it's a lie. I've been in sales for 20 years. I've been in tech sales for a good part of 16, 17 years. I've lost multiple deals. I've won many deals. And I can tell you that all the ones that I won, when I look back, they're the ones where I had a coach and a champion. And again, we'll talk about these things, next time. But a champion is somebody who, when I'm not there in the room, or I'm not there pitching, they're pitching on my behalf. But why are they doing that? They're doing that because I took my time to understand what's in it for them. So, Jennifer, what's in it for you? Why are you talking to me? Why do you want to buy this solution? You in particular, why? Oh, I want to buy because, okay, let me help you I can help you do that. But we need to have this agreement. If I can do this, would you do that for me? Great. Right? If you don't start setting, kind of expectations and boundaries from the start, then you're not enforcing the kind of person that you're going to be later on in the engagement. But if you do that, they trust you because they think, all right, I can't mess with this person, right? When the call is in 2 o'clock, I've got to be there at 2. No, I can't make the call because I've got something else. No, you said to me that you need a solution to be live by this time. I've invested my time in my team. So this call is to discuss, I expect you to be there. It's firm, but it's fair, right? So again, another thing I want to leave you with, let's ask the tough questions. Discovery call is a must. Every single engagement needs to have a discovery call. And in that discovery call, ask the tough questions. Because if you can leave that call and inherently you feel that you can help them and you feel that you've got buy-in from them, then you know that you want to invest time in that. If you can't feel any of those, and I'm going to give you a matrix at some point before we finish our fourth session of some of the things which you need to expect to be done at every given stage. Okay, but let me pause there. We have 3 minutes. I want to say thank you to everybody who made time for today. And I want to open it up for any questions before I hand over to Maxwell. So please, if you have any questions, unmute yourself and speak out, or get the mic and share your thoughts, please.
From people buy from people they trust. Most of the time, the prospective customers we encounter, we are meeting them for the very first time. And how do people trust? Is it in our company, our brand points? Is it in the way we carry ourselves? Is it in our attitude? Is it in the display of our products? Is it the way our products are presented? I'd like to find them. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for that summary. I appreciate it. One more? Anybody else? Remember, we're trying to separate ourselves from the 95%. There's going to be, where the economy is going globally, Africa as well, that there's going to be so many vendors coming on the market doing exactly what you're doing or what you set up, right? Your sweat and tears can't go to waste. What we're trying to do here is we're trying to make you the 5%, right? Distinguish yourselves. And these are the building blocks of doing that. And I promise you, many execs won't invest time into understanding the science and the art behind selling. But if you can do that at this stage, and you can build that blueprint and the foundation, when you start recruiting your team or your existing team starts to grow, everybody that comes on board is working from this playbook to say, this is how we sell here. This is how we were able to achieve X amount of revenue. Let's not deviate from it. You're building your foundations of how you're going to grow. This is imperative. So thank you for that summary. I'll take one more and then I'll hand over to Maxwell. So one more feedback, thoughts, questions, anything else before we wrap up, please.
Any last questions?
Hi. Okay, I thought I had somebody, but well, thank you everybody. I'll hand over to Maxwell. Thank you for your time. Yeah, look forward to speaking to you on session 3. Session 3, we're going to be covering, we're going to start with this. So the buyer and the sales process, right? This is where the stages that we go through, right? So we're going to cover every single stage, because I get people asking the question, I'm struggling to get a deal signed, or this deal is stuck in this for a long time. How do I move it from this stage to that stage? We're going to be going through this on the next session, because at every single stage, there are things you need to do. And if you haven't done that, you're going to struggle to progress it to the next stage. And usually it's not where we want the stage to be, it's where the buyer thinks the stage is at. Okay, so as you can see at the bottom, it's got misalignment. But let me pause on that. We're going to be delving into this in our next session. So thank you once again, and I'll hand over to Maxwell.
Thank you very much, Michael. I think my people enjoy this very much. Yes, we are grateful. But a little bit announcement about hello. There's a small information that I'll share with everyone. That's our next section. That's first, I think, but that's this
Friday, this Friday, and that will be the third session. So please, and it's still online, still 12 p.m. to 2. So please sign into your calendars. Yes. And as we also do the virtual selfie, so if you can all put on your camera and then let's take a virtual selfie.
Let's do it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Still waiting. Us. Just wait. Things fine. So give me a smile. 2, 3, 1. So those days can also be a sign. So just be a wait. Yes, 2, 3. Thank you very much, everyone. And I'll upload this video online and share it to you can get access to it and then watch online. Yes, thank you everyone. Thank you very much, Michael. Thank you all for the session. Thank you. The announcement on Friday, same time. And those who are still having necessary, if you want to come to office, you can still come to the office. And if you want to join online and see more communities, you can do so. Thank you.
Thank you.